Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a hot take on BLM and Antifa. They're back, and Biden's going to have to deal with them this time. I wonder how he's going to deal with them. I wonder what news reports are going to erupt this time in these peaceful protests. First up, George Floyd protesters marched through downtown Minneapolis on eve of jury selection in the Derek Chauvin trial. Minneapolis is going to burn again. There's no amount of punishment that Derek Chauvin could get that would satisfy the mob, short of taking him out into the street and hanging him, which they won't do, which they shouldn't do. He is probably going to get off. And here's why. The coroner report said that Floyd had enough fentanyl in his system, a lethal dose, to kill him. The procedure he used, kneeling on his neck, was part of the procedure he was trained to do, and so it was expected of him. And the video clearly shows that Floyd requested him to put him on the ground. He was freaking out the moment the cops got there, probably from ODing on fentanyl. So I think there's very little chance he gets any kind of serious time. Very little. At the worst, I think he might get negligent homicide. And even that, you know, I think that's a stretch. I really do. Because when you watch the videotape, he didn't mean to hurt him or kill him. And everybody got upset, and I did too, because you saw the video out of context. You didn't see the beginning of the video where he's freaking the F out and saying that he couldn't breathe from the moment the cops got there. Once you see that, you realize, well, wait a minute. What you saw in the video was just a continuation of what was already happening. Now, kneeling on the guy's neck was not a helpful thing from the standpoint of Floyd's health. Whether or not Chauvin should have done it, I guess you could say no, but, people second guess the cops all the time. And I am in agreement that cops have way too much power. They have way too much power. And you shouldn't call them unless you're absolutely desperate and have to call them. But, they called the guy over a bad 20, which, to me, when somebody gives you a bad 20, you take his picture and you post it on the wall and you never serve him again. If he shows up again, you say, no, you gave us a bad 20, give us another 20 or get lost. That's what I would do. It's not worth involving the police for this very reason. So if they had done something like that and just banned him from the deli, he probably would have never shown up at this deli again. And he probably would have died anyway. Probably would have left the deli and died an hour later, just driving his car. But Minneapolis is going to burn again because he ain't going to do any hard time. He'll get out. He's a cop. So they take that into consideration during these trials. I don't know if he can get a fair trial in Minneapolis, which is something that I'm sure his lawyers are going to argue against. They're going to try to change the venue and move it to some place where, these activists don't live. So this will be future protest and burning and looting, and it'll be interesting to see what Biden does. Now, I think Biden, because he has the media on his side, he'll ignore it, and then the Minneapolis city will have to deal with it unless it gets so bad that they have to call in the federal government. But if they call in the feds this time, the feds will stomp these guys. They'll stomp them, and they'll arrest everybody. And you won't hear a damn word about it. Not in the regular news. BLM protesters threatened little girls and small children outside cheerleading competition in Louisville. This is from Gateway Pundit. Take it with a grain of salt, but they got a video. Families were harassed over their, quote, white privilege as they entered the Louisville International Convention Center for the competition. It was allowed by local police. Gateway Pundit reader Richard said his daughter and her family attended the cheerleading competition. They were caught in abuse. As they entered the facility. That's a weird sentence. She told her father, quote, we had to walk straight through this. They shoved Dave, her fiance, and threatened they would kill my children. This was scary and unexpected. Well, when you're dealing with BLM, that would unfortunately not be unexpected. BLM and Antifa, basically two sides of a coin at this point. The BLM guys have not pushed really the Antifa guys out. They kind of bleed into each other. I'm sure there are members who are in both. But, this is just typical harassment. And again, you're not going to hear about this you probably heard about it on the local news if you lived in Louisville, but I don't think you'll see this on the national news because they don't care. They don't care anymore. Unless they decide to, get rid of these guys. But why should they? They feed money directly into the Democratic Party. Insurrection, again, Gateway Pundit, a bit hyperbolic. Antifa sets fire to Portland Public School headquarters and torches vehicles in series of malicious terrorist attacks. Last night, on Antifa's Day of National Autonomy, the headquarters of the Portland Public School was heavily vandalized and multiple school district vehicles were set on fire, as you can see. A district food delivery truck was completely scorched in the aftermath. Portland Fire and Rescue vehicles arrived after 3 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday morning, where they found 2 cargo vans and a large box truck on fire in the parking garage. This is being described as an attack on our school system. F school, says the tweet from Eugene Youth Liberation Front. Multiple school district vehicles were set on fire. Oh, it's the same thing. So you could see, it's not good. Eugene Youth Liberation Front, a radical far-left organization responsible for putting together direct actions in the past, publicly commented on the attack. In the past, Antifa has toppled statues, blah, blah, blah. We all know that. So, you know what this always reminds me of? You ever see The Life of Brian, Monty Python movie? One of the running gags in the movie is everybody, all the random characters, all the supporting characters, not Brian or the main guys, they're in these groups like Youth Liberation Front or this kind of front or the People's Liberation Army or whatever. And Antifa is very much like that. They have all these like disparate groups that come together kind of with the same goals. Trump fans clash with Antifa and BLM supporters after unfurling huge flag of Pelosi as demon outside Trump Tower. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know why Antifa and BLM would care. Why would you care that they unfurled a flag like this? Why do you so vociferously defend the Democrats, Antifa and BLM? I thought you hated them. But you sure seem to carry their water. We love Democrats. We're such radicals. That's you kissing their butts. Trump fans clash with Antifa and BLM supporters while carrying a massive flag depicting Nancy Pelosi as a demon during a march on Friday. It looks like she's biting into the Constitution or tearing it in half and laughing. It's a pretty big flag. It's pretty elaborate. The MAGA supporters marched along Fifth Avenue in Manhattan towards the Trump Tower where all sorts of pro-Trump flags waving. Oh, here we got Gays for Trump. There you go. And there's the flag. Can't read the artist's name. Towards the end of the event on Friday afternoon, the Right Side Broadcasting Network reported that Trump fans got into altercations with Antifa and Black Lives Matter activists. Wow, that's a big flag. Trump 2024 something America. Can't read it. Oh, Trump Save America flag. That's what it is. Trump Save America. Trump 2024. Save America again. Nice. 6 people were arrested, reportedly. Something about the riots on January 6th, of course. There's a bunch of other stuff. This is the Sun, so they're not in this country. They're in the UK. But let's go on the ground with Ford Fisher and his tweets on the deal. He's a on the street photographer. So here's some pictures from the event. There's that big flag, Trump 2024, Save America again. There's the Nancy Pelosi flag by American artist Scott something. I couldn't read the rest of it. Some more people carrying Trump flags. Just says Trump. You notice the Pence is gone. And this guy is holding a flag that says gays for Trump, and he's got a MAGA hat on. Police escorted the group along the way and spent most of their efforts monitoring and repelling a handful of counter-protesters, including one anti-fascist with a rather large patch collection. One accused him of instigating early on. No violence occurred on the march path. Well, that's good. Here he is with all his patches. One Nation, No God is one of his patches. He's got like a weird... His patch is like... Got a weird like pseudo-American flag, but instead of stars, it's got 3 upside-down crosses and it's black and white. That's very strange. He's got an Antifa patch. He's got a Tribe Called Quest patch, which is a band. They sung I Left My Wallet in El Segundo. It's a good song. Here is NYPD Community Affairs, whatever they are. I guess they're cops. Here's the march. Oh, I'm glad there wasn't any violence. Here's some guys shaking hands with the cops. I assume they're Trump supporters. Oh, there's a lot of photos here. Thank you, Ford. Small scuffles, including thrown water bottles, and pro-Trump protesters accusing one counter-protesters of having a knife. He didn't, but he did have a small hammer, led to about 6 total arrests once the groups arrived at Times Square. Oh, so that guy, looks like that guy got arrested. Looks like that guy got arrested. And that guy. My understanding is all but one arrest were counter-protesters, and the one Trump supporter arrested was released on scene without charge. As always, like my videos, all photos are available to licensed. Update from the rally. NYPD is claiming officer was treated at hospital for suspected bleach being thrown in his eyes. I did see the water bottles poured thrown, but can't confirm what was in them. One civilian left the event with an eye closed and in pain. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Why would you throw bleach? That's just nuts. This is the video of the civilian with the eye injury. People there seemingly thought it was mace, not bleach. As NYPD escorted him to a station, counter-protesters mocked and laughed at him. Oh, poor baby. Do you need your mommy and daddy? What an effing bitch. Well, that's not nice. Not nice at all. Ford Fisher. That's his photos. And you can find him on... I'm going to follow him. He's the editor-in-chief at N2S Reports. So he's got a Patreon. So I hope it's okay I used your photos in my video, Ford. Perhaps this advertising. Here, I'll give you some upvotes here. There you go. Everybody upvote Ford. Got some good videos. He really covered it on the ground well. You know who else covers this stuff? Is Andy No. Let's go over to him and see if he's got anything on the subject. I'm sure he does. Perhaps he missed this. Oh, he's got... Oh, he's doing interviews. Oh, here's the fire at the Portland Public Schools. A suspected explosive device went off in the Argay Terrace neighborhood in Portland, Oregon. I'm not seeing anything about New York. Efforts to clean up sprawling encampments have been met by militant and sometimes violent opposition from far-left activists and Antifa. Their goal is to devalue property so as to reverse gentrification. That's the most woke-carded thing I've ever heard. How does that work exactly? How does leaving garbage by the side of the road reverse gentrification? That doesn't make any sense. No one's going to live there. You're not going to have people moving. Oh, a rat-infested neighborhood. Let me go there. I mean, it didn't help Baltimore for many years. The whole place is one big anti-gentrification city. Most of it is. So, it just doesn't work. I mean, I guess you could drive the wealthy people out, but they'll bounce back. I mean, they could just hire their own police force. Really, it's weird, very strange. Well, that's it from Antifa. Apparently, they're still very active, waiting for Joe Biden to do something. But, for him, Antifa's just an idea.